In developmental psychology, there is an unspoken but very clear division of parental roles. A mother is the parent who helps a child feel safe inside the home. A mother represents the child's inner world, their safe nest, but sooner or later every child has to step outside that nest, into a world of competition, harsh rules, risk, rejection, and societal pressure. The father figure is meant to be the guide into that outer world. Through our relationship with a father, we first learn the things that ultimately build our adult psychological core. First, boundaries and resilience. A father is often the first person around whom a child learns to handle someone else's strength, to say no, to compete, to defend themselves, and to not fall apart during a conflict. Second, the right to risk. It's usually through a father that we first encounter the idea. Failure isn't fatal. You fell, get back up, try again, the world didn't end. This shapes an adult's capacity to take risks and launch new projects. Third, a sense of mattering. For boys, a father is the first marker of his masculine competence. For girls, he is the first man whose attention and respect shape her baseline understanding of what she deserves in a relationship. But what happens if that person was completely absent from your childhood? What if, instead of a guide standing behind you, there was nothing but a silent, echoing void? This is where a profound problem emerges, one that most people don't fully grasp until their late 20s or 30s. Growing up without a father isn't just about a rough childhood. It alters your entire settings. It leaves you believing that you have to earn your right to exist and that you're fundamentally unlovable just as you are. Over time, this stops being just a childhood memory of everyone else had a dad, but I didn't. Your body and your nervous system store this void on a biological level. Long-term longitudinal studies consistently show the exact same harsh pattern. Children who grow up without an emotionally or physically present father often enter adulthood with a chronic baseline sense of inner insecurity. Deep down, a simple rock-solid conviction forms. The world is unsafe. There is no one standing behind me. I can only rely on myself. And this begins to infect literally everything. It becomes incredibly difficult for this person to truly relax. Even sitting in a quiet, completely safe room, their nervous system keeps running in survival mode, constantly scanning for the next threat. As adults, these people often look incredibly put together, strong, self-reliant. They are the ones everyone admires. But behind that hyper-independence isn't maturity. It's a deep-seated primal fear. If I let my guard down, if I lean on people or ask for help, I'll be abandoned all over again. It's better if I just do it all myself. Overachieving to buy love. When a child grows up in that vacuum, completely unseen by a father, their mind draws a deeply painful conclusion. A child cannot rationalize complex adult circumstances. The brain simply short-circuits and concludes, if I wasn't chosen just as I am, if my dad isn't here, there must be something wrong with me. Therefore, love must be earned. This births one of the most common and profoundly exhausted archetypes of modern adulthood, the high achiever with zero internal self-worth. Let's break down how this actually manifests in real life. First, workaholism. You work 12 to 14 hours a day, not because you're starving, but because stopping triggers a wave of sheer unmanageable anxiety. The moment you sit on the couch during the weekend to do nothing, a strange sense of guilt suffocates you. It's as if your right to exist and be respected must be re-justified every single day through constant productivity. Second, perfectionism. For these people, a mistake is never just a mistake. It feels like a catastrophe, a direct confirmation of their total inadequacy. Any criticism cuts too deep. Any failure feels like a final verdict on their character. Third, imposter syndrome. Even after a massive success, the relief is short-lived. You can make money, buy the house, build a career, win the awards, but the victory only checks a box. It doesn't bring warmth. Deep down, that childhood echo remains unchanged. This is still not enough for me to finally truly be chosen. The broken core matrix. Let's look at this survival mechanism coldly and directly. This is how a missing father completely alters the trajectory of your adult life. No physical or emotional core support. The world feels chronically unsafe. Hyper-independence. I don't need anybody. Weakness is forbidden. Chronic internal tension and guardedness. Burnout, anxiety, and emotional emptiness. No amount of money, status, luxury cars, or external validation can replace a child's need to feel, I am seen. I am chosen. And so, millions of adults spend their lives running on a hamster wheel, trying to earn the love of a person who simply wasn't there to give it. Why it ruins relationships. But where this deficit hits the hardest and hurts the most is in intimacy. Because someone who feels fundamentally not enough on the inside literally does not know how to receive healthy love. Healthy, stable, warm relationships feel boring, alien, or highly suspicious to them. Two classic relationship dynamics tend to play out here. Scenario number 1. You unconsciously choose emotionally unavailable partners. Cold, guarded, distant. People you have to constantly chase. In other words, the exact template of what felt familiar in childhood. Your mind is trying to rewrite an old trauma. If I can just be perfect enough. If I can break myself in half to make this cold person notice me, my wound will heal. But the script almost always ends the same way. You end up right back where you started, completely alone. Scenario number 2. Total emotional numbness. You stop letting anyone get close to you altogether. You build a concrete wall around your heart and proudly claim, I don't need anyone. I'm a lone wolf. I'm fine on my own. But behind that mask of independence isn't freedom. Behind it lies a primal, panicking terror of ever feeling like that abandoned child who wasn't chosen ever again. Leaving the waiting room. The hardest, most painful part of growing up is stopping one day and facing a brutal reality. The father you have been waiting for your entire life is not coming. He is not coming to give you validation. He is not coming to give you warmth. He is not coming to have that deep, healing conversation that should have happened 20 years ago. The tragedy is that so many adults waste the best years of their lives standing at that closed door in a dark hallway. You were hurt, and you have every right to that pain. You don't need to make excuses for him, but you don't need to drown in hatred either. True maturity begins at the exact point where you stop waiting. It happens when you finally turn away from that closed door, walk over to that little kid inside you who spent their whole life sitting in the waiting room, wrap your arms around them and say, you don't have to prove anything anymore. You don't have to earn your right to be loved. He didn't choose you because of his own limitations, not because there was something wrong with you. You matter simply because you exist. Let's go live. And it's from that brutal acceptance of reality that real healing finally begins.